two things. Sometimes people can seek protective orders, and even though there's not a criminal case going on, a judge could order as a part of a protective order that the person submit to what we refer to as BIP, which stands for Batterer Intervention Prevention Program. That's not anger management, and that's not couples counseling. A lot of times victims and suspects will ask if they can do couples counseling or if they can do anger management. Research has showed that those two types of counseling do not specifically address the behaviors that are at play in intimate partner violence. So what they specifically need to do is Batterer Intervention Prevention Program. Those can range anywhere from 18 weeks long up to 52 weeks long. So they're very lengthy programs, and sometimes that doesn't really make a defendant want to submit to them because they can sometimes take up to a year. But based on the research, that's the amount of work and time it takes in order to really try to make an impact and change battering behavior. In all of our probations in Travis County, I can speak for Travis County for sure, we always make BIP completion a requirement of any plea bargain for probation. Oftentimes, however, if there's a prison sentence in a case, they don't necessarily get that treatment, just so that everyone is aware. Some limited counseling is available in certain either jail or prison facilities, but not necessarily what they would receive if they were on a protective order or on a probation. The main thing we try to do as state prosecutors is to keep the victim at the center of our focus. Like we discussed earlier, sometimes the victims do not want to be involved in the investigation or the criminal prosecution, and by keeping them at the center of the focus, sometimes that means going ahead and trying to hold that defendant accountable. We always want to get their input, and we want to collaborate with them in terms of what is the best outcome for this particular family, what is the best resolution in terms of punishment. Justice can take many forms. You know, sometimes cases are much serious than other cases. Sometimes we've caught a situation at the beginning before it escalates. And so sometimes some offenders can be adequately addressed with a probation. Some offenders may not be able to be adequately addressed by probation, and prison is the route that goes. But we like to keep the victims at the center of our focus. We want to take into consideration all of the factors that affect them, whether they have children, whether there are safety concerns. For example, if we don't have contact with the victim and we don't know there's a safety concern, we may not know whether the defendant needs a GPS monitor to make sure he stays away from wherever the victim lives. We may not know whether there need to be firearms that are forfeited. We may not know that. So we want to keep them at the center of our focus, and we want to have them cooperate and work with us to try to reach everyone's goals together. In terms of what we do on a day-to-day basis, we make contact, or we attempt to make contact with each victim in every single family violence case that we have soon after the arrest of the defendant. We want to reach out. We also send letters in order to let the victim know what's going on in terms of when the case is being indicted, any other resources that they may be able to access. We want to help provide them safety planning if they need that. We have specific victim coordinators in our office that are available to help explain the criminal justice process to the victims, help accompany them to court proceedings, help them with reaching out to other resources they may need, such as shelter, medical providers, and so forth. In addition to just going through and having supportive counseling in these tough times when things are crazy and the criminal justice system is really difficult. We also, as prosecutors, always reach out to the victims to attempt to inform them of the plea bargain. If we are unable to get a hold of them at first tries, we always try harder. We always get our investigators to try to contact them. And so we want to make sure that they're informed of what's happening, and we want to make sure that they're okay with that. And so we try a lot of different methods, and just the nature of domestic violence, not all the time do victims want to participate, and that's unfortunate. But we're always here whenever they're ready to reach out. We're always available, and we always want to have them involved.